Hey, what's up, everybody? Good evening, and thank you for tuning into this week's episode of According to Sacha Podcast. You know, we're here with you on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with phenomenal guests from different industries, different backgrounds, entrepreneurial journeys, speakers, so forth, or whatever. But they always bring us some good information right here. And so we have another guest, and her name is Teresa Lasley. She is the founder of Instructional Gym. Very interesting, but I'm going to let her get into it and tell you about what she's doing. And we'll kind of get into her world a little bit. But first, what you got to do, you guys, you got to like, follow, and share. Like, follow, and share all of our platforms there, all down at the bottom. But you know that we're here live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And then we're also on our streaming platforms on Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, and the list goes on, right? So we're there. But first, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all the listeners, all the watchers, everyone for all your support for this platform. Thank you for showing up for us, because what you do for us, remember, you do for everyone that's on this platform. So we just want to be able to increase their following and continue to just be there and be able to give back to another entrepreneur. Because, you know, in these streets, it is hard, right? And we can't do it by ourselves. So we do it with other people. And this is my way of giving back. So I am not going to keep us too long, because I really want to talk about with the things that Teresa is doing. And so I'm going to play a sponsor video, and then 2 videos after that. We'll be back with Teresa Lasley.
Warning signs your body is giving you? Do you sometimes feel the need to act like everything is okay and that you don't need help? Are you facing some tough physical and mental health challenges that you just don't know how to face on your own? We created the Men's Empowerment Group as a safe place where men can share their thoughts and challenges while also receiving judgment-free advice from their fellow group members. You no longer have to pretend that everything is okay. It is okay to not be okay. This free forum provides discussions related to financing, health, relationships, and other struggles that men face in their everyday lives. There are 1-hour-long weekly sessions in addition to the open forum, where you can learn from others every Monday at 7 p.m. Please check us out, www.abundancelegacy.org, to register.
Entrepreneurship, small business, is something that everybody would love to do, making their own money. And this is what we will be talking about on According to Sacha. Hey, Teresa.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me this evening.
Oh, it's such a pleasure having you here. Thank you for wanting to be on the show. I really appreciate it. So we can go ahead and dive into this interview, because we were talking beforehand. It is so interesting in what you're doing with your business and how you're impacting the community. So, but first, before we go into all of that, I want you to share with the public, share with the crowd, who is Teresa Lasley?
That's a great question. Teresa Lasley is a lot of things. And first, I am a woman that champions women. I'm a teacher who sees the power and the change that I bring for students and want everyone to have positive experience in the profession. I'm an artist where I am able to just be creative in all ways, in all things that I touch. I want to be creative in them. So I think those are 3 ways to describe Teresa, but I mean, you don't always know what you're going to get from Teresa. And I'm grateful for that innovation that I walk with daily. And I'm excited about continuing to just learn more about who I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love how you end it, because it's always about learning who you are. Like what you're doing one day, you could completely do something the next week and so forth, because it's always, you know, you're changing, you're growing, and, you know, what was serving for once ago is not serving for this time, or it's just, hey, you just show up how you're going to show up as long as you're your best self. And so, and that's what you do as a teacher. So tell me, like, what was it? Did you always have a dream about being a teacher, or something you just kind of got into? Like, how did that come about?
I think my aunt, who is still teaching, maybe in like her 50 now. I don't know. She's been teaching forever, right? And I've always, as a young child, like would look up to her and just always wanted to be a teacher, among other things. But teaching always kind of came back up for me again. So I would have like bulletin boards in my bedroom. Like my mom would take me to the teacher store as a kid, and I would just tape her walls up. I'm so grateful that she would allow me to do that. We would get old books from my school, and me and my friends would play school at home. That was like our fun time. So it's always been in me to like lead and be before and be creative in that way. So I've always wanted to be a teacher. He's going to be a dance teacher, a school, like an English teacher. I had a comedy club at one point. So I'm always finding my way to do that, to nurture other people through what I know and sharing that knowledge with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how long have you been teaching?
I'm going into year 19.
Ooh, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations.
But we don't get to retire at 20. That's really problematic. But if only that was the case. But this is year 19. And I'm still just as excited about the work as I was in year 1, 2, 3 years and years ago. So
yeah. I always tell people, to be a teacher, you have to have like a certain kind of patience, a certain type of skill, a talent to work with kids. Because like I ventured into like substitute teaching at one point, and I did high school, middle school, elementary and middle school. They wore me out. And those kids, they were like,
I've done middle school. I can't do the babies.
Yeah. High school was a little bit more laid back and everything. And that's why I got to that place. I was just like, I had a newfound love for teachers because that teacher appreciation for me was like real. And so thank you for being there for the kids and everything, because it does take a lot for a teacher to be there, especially when, you take on so much responsibility, you wear a lot of hats sometimes. And, tell me, like, even with the changes, like you hear it in the news all the time, like different schools, you got teachers leaving the schools, and some other area they have teacher strikes, and then kids are just being, and it's like so much. So how do you continuously stay in that happy, mode that you be in, and how can you really impact other teachers around you?
Yeah, I think for me, I have found a way to, in life, just be in alignment. And I'm fortunate to be in a position where there's novels that I teach or supplemental materials that I can bring in that I'm really passionate about. And my excitement is what carries me over. And when I'm excited, my students are excited. And what I'm committed to every single day as I enter a classroom is that I laugh every day. I find joy, because you have to imagine some of my students are coming from circumstances where there isn't a lot of joy present. And this is some refuge. The schoolhouse is that for them. And I really take that serious, that I create a space where they can be their 100% selves. They can entrust in me, ask me questions. Sometimes I'm not always ready to get involved. But the fact that I've given them a comfort to ask questions, to just get more familiar with who they are becoming. And I don't always get to see the end product of the great work that I'm able to do with students, but just knowing that I have been a small part of their path as they continue on means a lot. And as I have students come back and I have students talk about, just their time that we had, that one time that we laughed, whatever the thing is, that was impactful for them. And I don't take that for granted. I think keeping that at the forefront every day, that this could be the day that I really changed the path of a student life. And it seems very like big idea, but in all reality, like we think back to moments in our own lives, be it in school or just in general, is really moments that shift, change, direct how we move in life. So class is just that, an opportunity to do that. So I'm always aligned in everything I do, what I teach, what I lead, and I always make sure I have joy. When I can have those two things coexisting, then I'm in a happy place always.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. So let's kind of dive into what the instructional gym is all about. I would
Yes.
tell you, like when I first saw the name of your business, I was like, instructional gym. That's very, very interesting. I wonder what she's really doing with that. And to hear more about it, I'm like, wow, that's wonderful. So let's share with the audience and everyone else that's going to watch. Like, what is it all about? How did you get started in it?
So I'm speaking to a point. I arrived at a place now where there is alignment and joy always. But in these 19 years, that was not always my story. There have been some school districts that I worked for that I found more challenging, and not because of students, but other factors, right, that take place. The politics of things, the sometimes the cronyism that exists within school systems. And I've served as a classroom teacher, I've served in leadership roles, and my safe place is always in the class with students. I understand them most. But I experienced burnout as a teacher, and I felt isolated, and I didn't want to talk about it. And I just really found myself easily considering, how can I transfer these skills as a teacher to other professions? How can I still be enlivened by work that I do from what I've learned in this field? And I started to think, I can't be the only one that feels like this. I can't be the only one that's going through the ups and the downs, the not so nice parts of the educational system, I would say, as a whole. And understanding that this is a community issue that we are addressing. What can I do to empower other teachers to stay? I mean, I would be like, dang, she left. She was so good in the classroom. Like colleagues that I would meet kind of in passing because they did not, find something that would hold them there. And I want an instructional gym to fill in that gap, to make sure the teachers are being fit, and fit stands for focused, intentional, and tailored. So a little bit of play on like, is your instruction fit? As in, are you your whole self before students? Is what you're teaching relevant? Is it important to you, but to them and their path thereafter? That is the work of instructional gym, to create spaces for teachers to come together, to give professional developments that aren't your ordinary ones, the ones that drain you, the ones that could be emails, like ones that you want to go to, that excite you, that allow you to be vulnerable and talk about things that you've experienced in the classroom. And then finally, I do subscription boxes for teachers, which is super dope. You get to open a gift. It gives you items that serve you in the classroom, serve you in life. So these three facets are what instructional gym is. Sasha, one quick thing that we sat and set me up. I feel like my computer light is dim, so I'm going to shift my location one more time. We can keep talking, but I'm moving as we talk. But I'm doing something different, and I don't want us to cut off.
Right.
Yeah. I'm here, though. I'm still here.
Okay, so everybody, we were playing around with this light earlier, right? And making sure the lighting was straight. So, yes, we have to get her her full glory. Make sure
crazy.
Was it kind of like going in and out or something?
Yeah, I don't know if I look right or not, but I'm nervous and I'm going to cut off, and I don't want to cut off.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's saying low battery. It said an hour and 30 minutes a second ago.
Oh,
that's better,
and that's
right?
probably it, because on the video, that's very good. Yeah, the video might have drained that hour, because I remember you said it did have an hour for your battery
all
life.
that time, and then it was like, nah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna sit down.
Good.
Right back. Completely
right back where we started.
Right where we started. All right. There we go.
Perfect.
There we go. Okay.
You're yes, it's good. There we go. See, everybody, that's why we have live and uncut. You get the real, the raw right here on According to Sacha Podcast, where we move lights and all this other stuff, but we're right here for everybody, right?
Absolutely.
So, but I just want to take this time right now. If anybody who's watching, or go ahead and chime in and say hello. If you are a teacher out there and you have questions, this is the time to talk to Teresa. If you're a parent and you have questions, like general questions, not so much of what's going on in your child's class and things like that, but general questions that you may have. This is time to talk to her, chime in, say hello, what's up, vibe with us tonight. And so kind of go back with what you're talking about. with the teachers. I think that's phenomenal that what you're doing, because a lot of times teachers do have a lot of burnout, and you have those very dedicated ones, and it's not just the students. It's like you said, it's everything, the other teachers, the classes, the principal, like whatever's going on, the faculty and stuff. It has always an impact. And so would you say that in that moment, does it really make a true difference on how a teacher show up in a class that changes and shifts everything in the room for those kids?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, students are going to keep you honest for sure. They read your energy before you even know it's showing up with you. And how we come, and it doesn't mean that you're always on, right? Everyone is entitled to have a day that I'm just not at 100. But I think oftentimes, like, recognizing that, because that's human of us, recognizing I'm not at 100 and then addressing it, like making sure that, I'm not allowing that to like take over this space, because I've come here committed to do certain things, and that can't be what's in the way of it. So I highly encourage like people taking, mental health days, like take time for yourself, like rest. Don't take work home. Like there's this practices that will allow us to always show up at higher vibrations, better versions of self, if we do them. So absolutely. How you enter a classroom could very well, just as we spoke earlier, that we can positively create the moment that shifts and shapes the student. That energy that's not so positive can do this exact same thing.
Right. Wow, that's a good point to make. So before we were shifting things around, you were talking about like your program is like in 3 parts. And so I know that you touched on, the subscription box, and let's talk about more about the collaborative space that you create with that.
Yeah, so of course, at these more anchored points in the year, American Education Week, Teacher Appreciation Week, teachers are in full bloom. Everyone's talking about teachers, and I make sure that I maximize that time and space so that teachers are also being nurtured through Instructional Gym's work. But I also, in addition to that, I have book clubs for teachers. I do professional developments that. I can do a candle making workshop for us to really talk about what are we pouring into ourselves as teachers to be the best versions of ourselves for students, that we can bring greater impact to the work that we're doing. So I have been intentional about selecting opportunities for us to come together. And very soon, this Labor Day, September 4th, I'm in collaboration with Field Day, FEEL Day, Incorporated, which is an organization that's all about wellness and community. And I am partnering with them to bring teachers out because, our community is good, but we like to be around people that are seeing the world the same way. Like we need to nurture ourselves. Fitness with HLS Collective, vendors, music, just coming together to be in conversation and community. So that's coming up on Labor Day. And it's also double fold functioning as Instructional Gym celebration as we go into year 4. August 15th marked the launch of Instructional Gym in 2020. So this is the moment that we're going to kind of come together and just be in celebration of a new year before us, to address the things that we've been thinking about over the summer. We had a chance to reset. I'm going to try it this way. And if it doesn't go how I plan, that's okay too. I'm going to pick it back up, throw it back on the wall, see what we do the second time around, right? So I'm excited about the celebration on September 4th in collaboration with Field Day. I'm excited about the Lesson and Laughter Summit I'm planning in November, which is around American Education Week, and a few other installations we'll have throughout the year. And of course, Teacher Appreciation Week. If you know a teacher, and everyone knows a teacher,
right?
We can be appreciating teachers all the time. Start of school year is a great time. Holidays are a great time. End of year are a great time. They've made it through, right? And they're impacting the next generation, those that will lead the world when we are, taking a step back, a seat back.
Awesome. But you made a good point just then when you said that a lot of times we focus on the kids going through school, making it through, they get out, last day of school. But the teachers, they're walking through that process just as much as the kids are. So being able to, include them in that end of year process, like I know for some teachers it doesn't end because they might work year round or something, doing things in the summer school, whatever.
Yeah.
But to show that appreciation for them too on that last day, because they had to be there with your kids and everything else. Yeah, so that's a really good thing that you had mentioned that. So my question here, I know you said you started the instructional gym about 4 years ago, right? Or almost year 4 in 2020. Did you start it because of COVID and how everything was going with the schools and the kids at the time, and the teachers?
I mean, I think it was just divine timing. Like I truly believe that instructional gym is my work, my give back to the blessing and the opportunity that God has given me as a teacher to experience the profession in this way. And I think I had already been brewing around the idea before the pandemic, and it just really created a platform for the go. Sometimes we pause on ideas and we're hesitant to really see it through. And I'm like, teachers are really just like, I don't even care if I don't have a job tomorrow. I'm just not doing this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, if you're at a place like that, how can I intervene? And despite all the things of the pandemic and COVID-19, it was a time that gave me a large amount of peace. And that peace is something that gave me the space to create Instructional Gym. So it was brewing, like, I want to do something for teachers. I know it's something I'm supposed to be doing. This is my community work. This is my give back. This is what I know I've been told to do. And then it just got really crystal clear. So a little bit before, but like the affirmation around it definitely happened because of the pandemic.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm very fascinated with everything that you're doing. It's so amazing. Thank you for doing that. I think that if, I don't think I have a few teachers in my family, and, so it's like, it's always good because, when I have a daughter, so when she was coming up in school, she was always blessed with the right type of teacher. It was pretty much teachers like you, and she was one of those kids that she would just kind of delve in. So if they accepted her, they were like family to her.
Nice.
So she had that bond and that trust. And I can't recall her having too many teachers that weren't like that. And so to hear that you're doing that for teachers, you're an exciting teacher yourself, and you're doing that for teachers to make sure that you're keeping them away from burnout is very commendable. So if we have any teachers that are watching or that will watch, and I know that you're in the DC area.
Yes.
So if they wanted a subscription box or wanted to kind of, learn more about what you have and kind of get involved, is there an option for them as well if they're not in the DC area?
Oh, absolutely. I've mailed boxes all through the nation and abroad, actually. So what you would want to do is, I'm actually redoing my website right now in preparation for the Lesson and Laughter Summit around American Education Week in November. But if you go to the website, instructionalgym.com, you can submit a form and I can capture your information or start to follow me for more direct information at instructional_gym on Instagram. And if you go to my profile, you can join a text community. There's so many ways to engage with me. So I send out newsletters. I send out weekly text messages, just as a word of encouragement, something, or a point of reflection for us all as teachers, to just kind of keep us our mindset forward thinking, positive, and really anchored in our passion and the work that we do. Like getting back to your why, like, why did I decide to be a teacher? That can get lost when things get murky around the politics, the demands, which are completely independent of the why I did this, why I came to this profession. So those are the ways to kind of contact Instructional Gym, contact me directly. I respond to the text, so it's like a real thing. Like if you text back, I'm going to text you back. So it's direct to Teresa. It's not, as a growing business, a lot of these pieces at this juncture is definitely a lot of one-to-one. So
Yeah.
I would love like to engage with as many teachers as I can. I've been able to touch different districts here in the Washington, D.C. area. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity just to impact teachers.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, how can parents or the community support teachers more?
That's such a lovely question. Because I think sometimes people are always like, for a long time, people throw money at schools, and that's not the answer. And I think
Yeah.
we moved to normalizing that
Mhm.
teachers wear all the hats.
Yeah.
And no, that doesn't mean I don't step in where I have the capacity to fill the void. But if you want to help teachers, it's really requiring you to get involved in some way. Like, we can't take for granted the power of being a mentor, or to bringing your business, your expertise. Go talk to some students, right? Give them another way of looking at the world, so that it won't just be me saying, yes, you can, you're capable, you are brilliant, right? They need to hear that echoed in our community by every person that can potentially echo it. And I think for me, if you're doing that, it takes one hat off, and then I can really focus in on being a content expert, making sure your child can read, making sure that I have dynamic lessons, and I'm not always focused on working through some other components that are in certain moments in a student's life are just more pressing, more important at that time. So be involved, like be a part of the work, is how I would say it. And everyone's busy, I get it, but like, find the moment, find the Saturday, find the one teacher, because everyone knows a teacher. So ask your teacher friends directly, what can I do?
Yeah, that's really good. And before we close out, I mean, I really do appreciate you being here. I got a comment. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So we have Mike Cross. So we had Nathaniel Ross said hello. I'd like to shout out those who are commenting. So yeah, Mike Cross, teachers are unappreciated major influences in community. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for that
We
comment.
are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're all impacted and touched by a teacher, I mean, because how else are we going to learn?
Yeah.
So,
Think about, like, what was the teacher that you remember? You know what I mean? Like, everyone starts to think about, like, I remember, what did they say? What was their nuances that resonate even still? Like, I'm still laughing at like some of the behaviors, and I'm like, she was amazing. And I love everything about it. You know what I mean? And I only hope to, like my aunt, I said, I only hope to, like, she's been teaching for 50, like, that's beyond me. I'm not necessarily hoping to teach for 50 years, but just the passion that comes from someone who can do that that says a lot.
It does. Definitely does. Definitely. For everybody, we had Teresa Lasley here from Instructional Gym. I have her information up here. Go follow her on her Instagram. Are you on Facebook too under Instructional Gym?
I am on Facebook too. So, but most of my communication is on the Instagram platform. So I'm working to build those other ones out. But Instagram, in my profile, the text community is there for you to join, and we can talk back and forth about just some of the work that we're doing in an Instructional Gym. And then a website will give you an opportunity to just kind of submit your information so you can join my email list, so I can send you out, just kind of keep you in the loop of what we're doing.
Awesome. So you guys make sure you reach out and get on that email list, get part of that text community. If you're a teacher, definitely want to do that. So now you have that support. She's here to support you in a way that helps you to keep your best self forward and to avoid the burnout. And before we go, Teresa, first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you for being here, showing up on the show, and just really blessing us with your presence and everything that you have going on in your world and the business. And then also I want to say, before we leave, if you have like final words of wisdom or encouragement for the teachers as they're starting out this new year, what would you say to them?
Just as a face and a voice of encouragement for teachers, is that your presence to bring greater impact is enough. Like, half of anything that we do is showing up, and you showing up every day for students is going to go a lot further than you may think. So don't minimize that. Continue to just thrive and push forward. And I am a resource if ever you are feeling like this is something I cannot continue to do. Just really think about the impact that you can have for students and what that will then do for the rest of their lives. Like, it's that important what you do in your presence.
Awesome. And thank you again for being here. And thank you, everybody, for watching. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and close out. I have another guest next Thursday, so we'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with someone else that's phenomenal. And I just want to say to you, command your day and everything you do and be great. Y'all have a good night. Bye.
Good night.